YouTube fairly quickly, and I'll make sure that we clean up the show notes for it.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second here.
Okay.
It takes, all right. Okay. So here we are. Hello, everybody. This is Charles with the Barbershop Brew Podcast. We are back with you all for another episode of the Barbershop Brew Podcast. It's always great to be on with you all. And as you can see, I have Dr. Stephan Poulter on with us today, the author of The Shame Factor, How to Heal Your Deepest Fears and Set Yourself Free. He's also the author of The Father Factor, How Your Father's Legacy Impacts Your Career. And we will get into part of that book later on as we continue some of these recordings, some of these podcasts. If you go to our Instagram there, you can see a little blurb. And then later on, you'll see some excerpts of the book that may give you an indication of something that you want to take a look at in your own personal life, right? As I like to remind everybody, all the stuff that we talk about here is not therapy in and of itself. It is a window into what you may learn should you develop a relationship with a therapist or a psychologist in the future. But this is one of the resources that can help you get there. Okay. And the other thing that I like to say also is whenever you get resources from us, whether these are books, articles, and things like that, I always offer a word of caution, and that is ask yourself why you're reading it. Are you reading it for yourself or are you reading it for someone else? Chances are, if you're not reading it for yourself, I would probably not put as much weight into it. I wouldn't
Mhm.
share it with a lot of people. It doesn't necessarily have the same ring. It can be kind of
Yeah.
offensive to do that. So, when you come to us, you're really coming because you are the one who needs help. Or there's somebody in your life who you've developed a good relationship with who will be open to you sharing these resources with them. So just a word of caution about how that's done, because guys, I can tell you in the world of social media, or what I like to call social media, there's so many people out there who read a paragraph,
Hmm.
who read an excerpt of something, and then they begin to identify all these issues in other people out there, and they don't look at themselves, right? That's one of the easy things for us to do. And we do that whether it's, an article about sociology, whether it's
Hmm.
something that's religiously based, politically based, it doesn't matter. We want to label everybody else and look at the issues
Yeah.
that other people have. And I have to tell you guys, the problems are not out there. The problems are in here. Okay. So that's my soapbox for the beginning of our show, but I think it's really important
Excellent.
that everybody understand that. So, Dr. Poulter, today, we want to start delving into father son relationships. We've been covering the four horsemen with regard to moms and kind of divorcing mom and reorienting ourselves with regard to our relationships with mothers. And I think that those things are important. But I also think that for equality's sake, right? It's and it's
Yes,
about men. We
exactly.
definitely
Yeah.
want to get into how fathers impact men and boys as well. I have to tell you a funny story, and I think that I've shared this with
Hmm.
you off air before. And that's that, when I was a younger boy, I had a
Hmm.
great relationship with my mom. Okay. Like my mom could do no wrong, even though
Hmm.
now we know my mom has done wrong, right?
So she's
Yeah,
not perfect.
she's not perfect. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
But as a boy, mom
Yeah.
was the go-to, and my dad lived with us.
Hmm.
My dad was there. They were married.
Yeah.
But dad was not really a prominent figure in the house. He wasn't a person who, like, he wasn't the guy that was playing ball with me in the back.
Gotcha.
He wasn't
Yeah.
the guy that was getting on his knees and playing cards with me in my room. He wasn't that
Yeah.
guy.
Mm.
And so the things that, Mr. Fred Rogers, one of my favorite
Yes.
people, as you know. Mr.
Oh,
Fred Rogers used to
yes.
always say that play is a learning language and a love language for children, right? And
Mm.
that's not really something that my father was involved with me in when I was younger. I was mom. Okay. But as I got older, probably somewhere in my 20s or so, um, my relationship with my father improved dramatically. It improved so much. It was just like, wow, is this the same guy? You understand what I'm saying?
Right, right,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah, I remember, you know, thinking that my dad was just out of touch. He was outdated. He was weird. He smoked a little weed. He smoked a little weed back in the day, and I thought maybe the weed was messing him up. I
Oh my God.
was like, this
Char-
dude is crazy.
yeah, yeah. Charles, more guys, we all think that our dad's just, oh my God, my dad's just out there.
Right. We all think that when we're younger, right? We'll be like, oh, that
Yep.
dude, that old fart doesn't know what the hell he's
He does.
talking about.
Yep.
He has no idea, right? Come
Mm-hmm.
on, dad, right? And then
Get in the game.
as we get older, okay,
Wait,
as we get older,
he
what do
gets
we
better.
think? He gets better.
Charles, what age did he
Yeah.
get better for you? About what age? Do you remember?
You know what? I can't say exactly what the age was, but I will tell you there was an event that I think impacted
Mm-hmm.
our relationship, and that was my um, my father losing his father. Okay,
Mm,
yeah, yeah,
that's a
I
big one.
think, yeah. Because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that I was at college at the time. And my dad would say to me, "Hey, your granddad, he's not doing so well." Or I would call my mom, and my mom would say, "Well, he went to go take care of him, or went to go visit, or he
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been here for a few days because he's been over there because he was kind of caretaker and just." Dad would go to work, and then he would go
Mm,
take care of his dad. Dad would go to work, take care of his dad, and obviously he would still be in contact with my mom and all of that. That was okay.
right.
She understood because my mom lost her father very, very early in life. Okay.
About how old,
Um,
Charles? Under
um,
10?
no, I would say mom. I was no. I would say, gosh, my mom was about 22 when she lost her dad. Yeah, she was about 22. Now, the thing about that interestingly is she lost her father at a time that was really important for her because that's when she was pregnant with me.
Oh,
Okay. You
big
see what
time.
I'm saying? Right.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
So,
Charles, we'll circle back to that timing.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
So, with that, that relationship began to change as he saw his grandfather deteriorating. They were having some conversations about spirituality and conversations about life and talking about my grandfather's experiences more in depth. And before I knew it, recognized it, the way that dad and I began to communicate had opened up tremendously. The sharing, the
Mm,
the lack of judgment, like the judgment went out the window.
yes.
Um, a lot of those things went away. And then here's the crazy part about it: as my father aged, and more of his colleagues began to get ill, die, and things like that, the way that we communicated became even more transparent, more heartfelt. Okay.
Your dad
Um,
reconnected to you, Charles. We'll
yeah,
talk about that through the
yeah.
lifeline. Dad's
Absolutely.
can, yeah, your grandfather passed. How old were you when grandpa passed?
So
Your
I
dad's dad.
was, I want to say I was probably, gosh, 21, 22, somewhere around there.
Okay.
something like that.
So
And
you're
so
a young man at the time.
yeah, I remember it. Um, because granddad was a very popular and powerful person in the family. A good, really, really humble, good dude. He really was. Um, I don't think, in terms of the men who have come after him, his sons and grandsons, none of us have been able to hold a matchstick to this man. And I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I'm sure that there are family. I have family members who watch the YouTube videos. I have family members who listen to the podcast, and
Mhm.
I'm sure that a lot of people will be upset with having heard that. But then there are be a lot of people in the family who are saying, you know what? Yeah, that's
That's
about
right.
right. I can tell you matter of factly that just about every other man has been a fuck up compared to my grandfather. Okay.
Oof.
Um,
Oof.
yeah. Even
Okay.
even though many men have not, they've not they're not mass murderers, right? They're not, but
Yeah, yeah,
still,
yeah.
we've not the manner of failings and things that we have had in our lives. That wasn't my granddad. Okay.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so that's when things changed with dad. Okay. It was
And
around that
Charles,
time. Mhm.
it's interesting. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here as always.
Yeah.
And talking about dads, and one thing I say to all men listening to this, if you're in the role of a father, you're a father,
Mhm.
whether it be at work, in your neighborhood,
Yeah.
with your stepkids. Stepkids is a legal term. That's
Mm.
not a that's not a psychological term.
Right. 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 Right.
Stepkids, yeah, that's in family law. Okay. I
Yeah.
always say,
Yeah.
hey, dude, that's in family law, man. This is
Right.
you're in the role of a father, you're a father.
Yeah.
And that impact, well, I didn't meet the kids till they're 15.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. You're you, when you jump in the movie, you're in the movie.
Right. Yeah. You're in the
And,
movie, and that's
and your
it's
dad's
really
movie
important.
changed.
Hmm.
When grandpa passed, Charles, we'll get to it later, but people think dad's a fossil, but he's not. Dad's not a fossil. Okay.
Right. Right.
If
Right.
there's one
Right.
takeaway today, oh, my dad's not a fossil. Even though we
Yeah.
may look like it with gray hair, we're not.
Right.
Because some dads are better with 20 somethings, 30 something than they are with younger children.
Right.
I got
Hmm.
some guys that are great with younger children, but are terrible teenagers. It
Got
ebbs
you.
and flows, Charles. It's
Yeah.
your dad, when after your grandfather passed, wanted to be a better father.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. Then I think about that. Guys, anybody, obviously, a male who has, dick and balls can produce a child, right? Um, Yeah,
Biology's easy.
biology is easy, right? But being a dad, it takes a lifetime, and
Mm,
these are
good point.
roles. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
these are, a father. That's not something that can be replaced. Just like mom, that's not something that can be replaced. And I know a lot of people out there thinking that, okay, a father can be replaced, but you just
Mm-mm.
heard Dr. Poulter say, well, it
No
doesn't matter
way.
if your stepfather or whatever the case is. When you step in, this is how children see you. Okay, regardless of how your intellect may view it yourself, when a child looks at you, they're looking at somebody who is ready to be a role model. That's just because that's what children naturally expect. They expect for an adult coming into the picture to behave a certain way, right?
Charles, spot on.
Yeah,
Spot on.
yeah,
You know, Charles, one of the things uh, I call it the father factor. It, men, I have a lot of guys say, "Well, I never got married, and I don't have kids." Go, but there's so many
mm,
guys, young women, and men around you that need you to be a father figure.
yeah, yeah,
And I use the
absolutely.
analogy: when you're on the football field, it doesn't matter if you're third string or fifth or first string. You're in the game. You're in the
Yeah,
game, and
yeah,
no one's asking
mhm,
where you rank in the team. You're in the game.
yeah,
And,
right,
and Charles, the other thing I want
right.
to say, one thing, I have a lot of fathers saying, I haven't talked to my kids in years. I think it's too late. I say it's never too early to
It's
be a
never
father.
too, yeah. Yes, yeah. Yep.
Never too
Never
early.
too late.
I,
Never too late.
yeah,
Never too early, huh?
yeah, never too early.
Mm.
Charles, that's part of healing and recovery. A lot of
Yep.
guys have gotten recovery. Well, I lost my kids. No, you didn't.
No, you
You can
didn't.
reconnect.
Right. Yeah. That's
No
right.
way. Don't buy
Yeah.
that.
Right. You got to do some work. It's going to take work,
You
but
get
it
a
can.
shovel. You get a dig. Yeah,
Yeah.
get a shovel, brother.
Yo. Right. Yeah. Guys, fathers, just like mothers, fathers are pillars in the development of a child's emotional well-being too. Children look to fathers to lay down rules, to enforce them. My dad definitely did that, probably sometimes too much. They also look
Yeah,
to
exactly.
fathers
Ditto.
to
Yeah.
provide like security,
Uh-huh.
physical security, emotional security. Kids want to make fathers
Mm.
proud. A lot. I don't know about you, Doc, but I definitely wanted to make my dad proud. Right.
Charles,
Um,
can we stop there for a second?
yeah.
Every boy wants his father's acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
age.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's one of our pillars today. And I have
Mm,
men that for a lifetime, Charles, they're still looking for that approval.
really. Wow.
I got a guy in his mid 60s, father just passed. He's still craving his approval. Dad
Okay.
was 98 when he passed. His dad
Really?
never really gave it verbally.
Wow. At
And this man
98.
has a vacuum hole in him the size of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. See, it's
Can't
interesting
fill.
that you mentioned that, because the other thing that we don't think about a lot of times, Doc, is that the inner growth and the strength that a father can provide for
Right.
a child, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Charles,
That's a big one.
you get your finger on the pulse. Charles, part of the men, same sex identification is big. Like daughters
Hmm.
identify with their mother,
Hmm.
boys want to identify with their dad.
Yeah.
And there's the cross, the daughter, father, we'll get to that. But sons, they want their father's approval.
Right. Right. Yeah,
Now,
and they want that. They want that support. And the reason why they want that support, obviously, is a lot of studies have shown that a
it's
child's cognitive ability and social development increases with that support of the father. Is that right?
right on.
Mm-hmm.
I tell dads, you're the backstop.
Mm-hmm.
Mom can be the softball, wiffle ball pitcher, but you're the
Mm-hmm.
backstop.
And
When
what do
things
you
are out of
mean by
control,
that? What do you mean by
yeah,
backstop for the guys?
it's like, it's not like Harry Truman, but a boy needs to know, like, there's a wall there. Someone's going to help me. If I'm in a free fall, he's going to help me. He's going to
Okay.
stop it. Your son's a
Yeah.
pilot. Dad's a co-pilot.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That is what it feels like.
Yeah. Dad's a co-pilot. But
Right.
when you hit a storm, young boy, shit happens. Excuse me. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
I used to call, my buddy used to say, no news is good news for my son. Like my son would call me from college, I knew something was up. But he called me because he needs us then.
Right. Right.
And I tell dads to be emotionally connected to your son, regardless of marital status. You can be married for 7 years, but you're a dad for life. You're a dad for life.
Okay.
Marriages can come and go. No judgment,
Right.
but you're a dad for life.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And being a sperm donor that doesn't automatically make you a father. Your commitment to fatherhood.
Yes.
And really, you end up fathering yourself, Charles.
Yeah.
I think about your son. He's a pilot. He wouldn't be a pilot if you didn't support him. That would not be happening without your involvement.
That's right. That's right.
Hands down.
It's funny that listening to you say that, because I just this is a moment of my mess coming out. Is I've been working with him since he was 13 on this endeavor, and he's 16 now. For you guys who don't know, he is an FAA certified pilot today at 16 years old. And
congratulations
I have
to both of
people
you
in my life. Yeah, I've got people in my life, doctor, who, they know that I don't like to take credit for anything. And they will not let me not take credit for helping my son get to that point in his life where he's able to jump out in his plane on a Saturday or Sunday and fly around by himself, and air
Wow.
traffic
That's
controllers know who he is,
unbelievable.
and yeah,
Charles,
yeah, uh-huh.
I'm sorry. If you didn't fund that emotionally,
Mm,
emotional funding is one that I want to talk about today.
mm,
Your son's not a pilot.
mm. Got it. Got
Dads
it.
think, well, I'm just a checkbook. No, you're not.
Mm.
That is peripheral. You're an emotional checkbook.
Okay. I see.
What you gave your son emotionally, the courage to try this, that's the
Mm.
backstop.
Yeah. Got it.
You gave him courage. Hey, son, I'm here. Let's go do this.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's turned into something very, very, miraculous. And the crazy thing about it, doctor, is people will ask him all the time, "Hey, do you think you're doing anything special?" And he'll be like, "No." Like, you just think it's a regular day at the office, and he's like, "Yeah, pretty
I ride a
much,
bike too.
right?"
Yeah, I ride a
Yeah,
bike
yeah.
too. No,
He's
you
like,
don't. You fly a
you know,
bike.
but my son is so
Yeah.
he's like, my dad always reminds me that I didn't
Mm-hmm.
make my bed this morning, so I'm just a regular guy, but
Mm-hmm.
but when you talk about the emotional support, and I got to tell you, as an aside, I still do struggle with being proud of myself for helping him with that, but I'm getting better about it, just so y'all know. I'm
Charles,
getting better.
hey, listen, I hear you. I'm not. I want you to hear me. All the dads out there, you emotionally funded his courage.
Mm,
My son's done some stuff. I may not agree with it, but I
mm,
funded him emotionally.
yeah. Okay.
He needed me
Yeah.
to say, okay, Jonathan, go do it.
Yeah.
You can do this. You
Okay.
got this. And that's
Yeah.
what
I
dads
hear
can
you.
give their daughters. And you can do this. You can do this. I'm
Mhm.
going to give you an anecdotal
So
story. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So USC, I meet one of the Heisman quarterbacks, and I'm interviewing
Mhm.
for the father factor. So I go meet the dad, and I ask Carson Palmer's dad,
Mhm.
how did you support Carson through school in football?
Mhm.
Well, I had to find out what he wanted to do. And
Right.
once
Right.
that's what I got behind. Now, if he wanted to be a chef, we'd be opening a restaurant.
Mhm.
If you wanted to be a musician, we'd be doing music. He goes, but
Yeah.
my job was to fund him. I had never heard the way he put it.
That's interesting. Okay. That's interesting. I
And this,
think about that.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's something
fund
that
him
I have
emotionally.
funding emotionally. I can tell you when my son um, kept talking about being a pilot, flying these planes, right? Obviously fear kicked in for me. But then I
And
I
rightfully
got to the
so.
place,
Yeah,
right, right.
rightfully so.
I got to the place
Yeah.
where I sat down with him, Doc, and I just said, "Hey, listen, man." I said, planes are some of the safest vehicles that we have
Mm-hmm.
on the face of the planet today. They really are. Okay. I said, but every now and then, there's an unfortunate and tragic incident where people lose their lives. And I said, I got a couple questions for you. One, are you okay with being responsible for other people's lives in this capacity? And he said, yes, that I can do it. I'm okay. I said, okay. Number two, are you okay dying doing? I said, do you love flying? He said, yes. I said, okay. Are you okay dying doing something that you love if it would ever come to that? And he said, yeah, I'd be okay with that because it's something that I took responsibility for and I love flying. And I was like, well,
Wow.
I guess
Wow.
that's all I got. So okay, go ahead, go fly.
Charles,
You know?
what you just did, if you could bottle this, you'd never work another day in your life.
Right. Yeah.
Charles, I got to, and this goes for women too.
Yeah.
This goes for women.
Yeah.
Dads, I'm telling you, out there, if you haven't talked to your kids lately, two things. One, it's not your kid's responsibility to call you. Can we get that off the table?
Thank you for
We, can,
saying that.
can we
Thank you
can we
for
just
saying
get that off the
yes.
table? That's
That's right.
BS. It makes my blood boil. My son never
Yeah,
calls.
yeah.
It's not his responsibility, dude.
That's
You're
right.
the parent.
That's right.
You're the parent.
You're the
Be a
parent.
parent.
Thank you. Because
Be a parent.
there's so many parents out there of various cultures and backgrounds who think that the child
Correct.
is supposed to be the one that's running
Reaches
to
out.
them to yeah, yeah. And it's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
That's not how this started. Like
Works.
your mom, your dad. So when in your mind, mom or dad, right? When in your mind did it switch to where the child is supposed to be the one that looks
Reaches
after
out.
you now, that reaches out to you now? Anyway, don't get me started on that.
Hey, Charles, I gotta tell you now. Okay, you and I, but can we just stipulate that that's BS? And if you're doing that as a parent, get in the game.
Yeah,
Get in the game.
right.
Call your
That's
kid.
right. That's right. Call your
It's
kid.
your responsibility.
So, I do want to talk about this emotional support that you mentioned, because a lot of times, Doctor, we hear about how important it is for fathers to show emotional support to their daughters. We've heard it for a number of years, and it's gotten
Yes.
increasingly louder because of certain movements that
Yep.
exist today, where they want fathers to show up for the daughters. And we know, as a man who has daughters, you've got to show up for your daughters emotionally,
Hey,
right?
Charles, I've got two. You've got daughters. Let me tell you something right now. Showing up for your daughter is giving Teflon to her that she can weather the storms in this rough world.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Because there are women that are comfortable with men, and there's women that aren't. The women I've met who aren't comfortable, their relationship with their dad didn't develop.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's very true.
Right.
And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the father-daughter thing a little later, but I wanted to mention emotional support and how we tend to overlook the emotional support for fathers to sons because we focus so much on fathers and daughters and their emotional support. But it sounds like, it's just as important for fathers to lend that, to give that, not to lend it, to give that emotional support to boys as well. And so we want to really let men know who are watching, who are listening out there. This is one of the reasons why it's so important for you to get in touch with your own emotional self, right? So that you are able to stand in with your son when your son needs you, that's
Charles,
extremely important. Yeah.
Charles, and a lot of men, I know you're going to go with me on this one, say, well, my dad never gave that to me. I go, when in doubt, think about what you wanted from your dad and give that to your son.
And give that to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, yourself and your son. And another thing I tell dads, well, my son turns 18, he doesn't need me. I go, I'm sorry, but you're an idiot.
Yeah, no.
You're in the idiot group. No, can do. No, can't do. You remember your dad for life, okay?
Right.
My dad,
that's right.
Listen, my dad passed when I was in my late 40s. And I can tell you right now, I needed him all the way up to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the same thing that my father shared about his father. Yeah.
I need him all the way up to the end. And one of the things I spoke to his son last night, he's raging about his father. He's 29. I said, the day you enter adulthood, the day that'll be what? When you stop blaming your dad for your life.
Right.
Yeah, but my dad did. I go, that may be true. The day you stop blaming your dad is the day the sons enter adulthood.
Yeah.
And adulthood doesn't mean you don't have children. You're like, your dad loved grandpa. It allowed you, Charles, to get good stuff from your dad.
Right.
That transgenerational stuff. Here we go. It's going down the tree.
Yeah.
Going down the tree.
I tell you guys, Dr. Poulter, there was a time when my conversation with my father would be a few words, very short. That was it, and now I can get on the phone with my dad and I will literally talk to my dad for an hour, 2 hours. And I mean, we are deep, heavy with it. And I'll tell you another story. I remember going home for I went home for the passing of a loved one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was staying at my parents' house, and my father came in. He said, he knocked on the door. He said, "Hey man, you decent?" I said, "Yeah, Dad." I was sitting there on this little, couch in the room, and he said, "You mind if I sit down?" I said, "No, go ahead, Dad. What's going on?" And he was like, "Oh man, I know we've been busy and running around, and I just wanted to check in with you, right?" So that was that lame check in with you, okay? And he sat down. And I said, "Oh, I'm good." I said, "I'm a little tired, and hungry, but otherwise I'm okay." And he said, "Hey man, I wanted to talk to you about something." And he said, "I don't know how you talk to your buddies and all, but he said, man, us guys, we don't do a good job." Um, Talking about fidelity and infidelity with each other. And he said, recently, man, I had to pull a friend aside, a friend who but I won't mention his name,
Mm-hmm.
friend that I have known for probably 40, 45 years or so. And I had to
Wow.
almost strangle him over divorcing his wife. And I had to just shake him up and say, man, what the hell are you doing? Like you get
Yep.
ready to and so this is how my dad started talking to me. Just, and I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, okay,
Where are we
my
going?
dad, yeah, I was like, my
Yeah, where are
dad
we
feels
going, Dad?
comfortable enough telling
Yeah.
me this, and he was just like, really, really coming straight with some stuff, man, that was heavy and deep. Um, and I really appreciated my dad sharing himself with me in a way that um, he didn't previously, and in a way that,
Mm-hmm.
at the time I felt like, that you don't have to do that. We don't have to talk about that. You don't have to tell me about your friends or how it was bothering you and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
since then, now I sit in a place where when I talk to men, Dr. Poulter, and I think you probably will understand why. Today, I tell men, hey,
Mm-hmm.
don't hold anything back from your sons.
Right.
Okay.
Charles, right on. Charles, I want to give a guys a couple things to take away today. What you just said about your dad and your son. Guys go, I don't know how to support my son. First of all, if you think you've screwed things up, ask for forgiveness.
Right. Definitely.
You want your son to go out in the world and be strong? Show him how to ask for forgiveness, because that builds strength
Mm,
and stability. You screwed up with your daughter,
yeah.
ask for forgiveness, and whatever it may
Right.
be.
That's right.
Okay, like I divorced your
Right.
mother and I wasn't around. I was an idiot. That's something. Okay, because kids,
Mm,
Charles, we're innately wired to love our parents.
right.
And as our parents, as a dad, you empowered your son to take a risk.
Mm,
You empowered your son to take. I've thought about this many times. If you're not empowering him, he's not a pilot.
yeah.
He'd spent a lifetime wishing he was.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of dads out there. Empower your son. And when Carson Palmer's dad says to me, he wanted football,
Hmm.
we're going football. He goes, I
Mm,
had to emotionally empower him for football.
yeah.
And
Yeah. That's
Charles,
something.
that's and his daughter. I've got a daughter. I don't care what your daughter says to you at 14, 16, or 17, or at 28. She still wants you.
Yeah. Right.
Empower her.
That's right. Yep. Empower.
Because also,
Yeah.
Charles,
Definitely.
the last one I want to say, man, your son's not an extension of you. He's not mini you. See him as
Mm,
a separate individual that you
yeah.
want to empower. Because
Okay.
by
And
doing that,
yes.
oh,
Yes.
now we're going. Now we're going.
Okay,
Now we're
so
getting some
now
traction.
let's because it
Yeah.
was already coming out. You
Yep.
being
Mm-hmm.
the man familiar with Christian theology in the Bible,
Yes.
you know
Absolutely.
that there is a certain passage in the Bible that says to teach the son or the child in the way that they should go, and they'll never depart from that. You're familiar with
Yes, I
this,
am. In
but
Proverbs. Yes.
okay. But I have always said that we have bastardized the interpretation of that. Okay. And what I mean by that is this: a lot of parents out there think that the
Mm-hmm.
child is an extension of them and they want that child to embody what they embody. Okay. I understand
Oh
it
boy,
differently today. No,
Charles.
you're not teaching a
Mm-hmm.
child in the way that you think that they should go. You are teaching the child in the way that the child's spirit, intellect, right, and
We'll go.
being is going will go. Okay. So I remember sitting, my son used to be
Mhm.
a Boy Scout, and I remember we went to a Boy Scout meeting where they had a lot of entrepreneurs who were talking about their businesses at the meeting, and there were several entrepreneurs who expressed a bit of disappointment in the fact that their own children did not want to get involved in the businesses that they had set up during
Oh
their
boy.
lifetime.
Right.
Right. And I understand that disappointment. I can see that hurt and that pain. And it's like, oh my gosh, are you going to let this business fall apart? Okay. But at the same time, if your child does not want to be involved in that particular way, then that's okay because they have
Oh
a different passion and a
man.
place that they're going to, right? And so, as a father, when I heard that, I was
Mhm.
trying to be supportive to the men who were expressing disappointment, but also say to the men, hey, listen, maybe here's an opportunity with your
Yep.
business and what you have built to support your child
Mm-hmm.
in the
Way
development
in which
of the,
their
yes,
life,
their life.
Charles.
Okay.
It's tools. See, I agree with you. That passage in the Bible is give your son and daughter tools to create their life.
Hmm. Hmm.
Give them
Yeah.
building materials.
Right.
And if they need help on the blueprint, they'll ask you.
Yeah, yeah. So
Give
it's yeah,
them the tools.
give them the tools.
Charles,
That's
give
give
them the
them the
tools, man. Not the
okay.
railroad. Not the
Right.
railroad.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to build everything for them,
Nope. And by the
right?
way, Charles, one thing I want to last is that as parents, as dads, we need to tolerate when our son, what we think when they fail. We need to
Yeah,
have frustration tolerance. Let him do a
absolutely.
face plant a few times. He'll
Yeah,
do better.
yeah, yeah.
He'll do
And the
better.
big thing about that, all of us have face planted, and we
Oh
forget.
my.
Somehow we start getting a little gray,
We
right?
have
We
amnesia
we
as a
get
word.
and then we got amnesia. We forgot what it was like to chase after the girl, to tell a lie. We forgot what it was like to make a mistake. We forgot what it was like to do
Mm-hmm.
something stupid or make a bad
Stupid.
decision. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, stupid, right? It is what it is, right? Um,
In quotes.
and we
Yeah.
yeah. We forget those things, and
Mhm.
so I think that's one of the other things that kind of makes me a little bit reserved with regard to, I have a 19-year-old who he wants to become a governor, a state governor, right? He's pre-law right now, and he's wanting to
Mhm.
get there. He's one of the top guys on the debate team at his university and all of that. And these things are
Wonderful.
great. These things are wonderful things. But I also remember that for him and for the pilot son of mine, hey, they're still gonna fuck up.
And
Okay.
Charles,
Yeah.
if they're not fucking up, we're not doing our job right. I'm serious. I,
Right?
I'm
They got to
telling you,
make mistakes. They got to make
they've got to
mistakes.
make mistakes. I got a
Yeah.
kid that just dropped out of a medical school. His father is foaming at the mouth. I
Hmm.
said, this is the first time in his life he made his own decision for his life.
Right. Right.
And the
And the father
dad,
doesn't know what to do.
oh, he says, I'm not paying your bill. I go, you don't need to. You don't need to. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You can't
Right.
control him or me
That's right.
with
That's
money.
right. Yeah.
Don't use
Absolutely.
money. Charles,
Absolutely.
if our
Yeah.
sons aren't taking risks, then we're sending them the wrong message.
The wrong message. The wrong message. That's right.
Message.
Yeah.
And
You're
I'm not
very right.
talking like crazy. I'm talking about decisions, building a business, going, becoming a
Yeah.
governor, being
Yeah.
a pilot.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny one. My oldest son. He asked his mom one time, and I think, it was a bit of joking in it. I think there's a level of truth to a joke, but he
And
was
there
like,
has to
hey,
be, or it doesn't work. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't work, right? He's like, hey, could I marry somebody without introducing them to you or something like that? And the mom and her whole family is like, oh no, you can't do that. You can't. And I thought, wait a minute, guys, y'all not thinking. What if this young man is in the military in Japan and he meets somebody,
Yep.
and he marries her? How are you gonna meet her, mom? And then I told my son, I said, hey man, I know that you're joking and everything with your mom and all, but I said, listen to me. Don't ever let me or your mother control the happiness in your life. Okay.
Right on.
Don't
Yep.
I said, what if this person who you love is not ready to meet your mother yet? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna postpone everything because of that. I said, don't fall into that. Respect your mother, yes. Try to make efforts, yes. But don't ever get to the point where you're waiting for the approval of myself or your mother or somebody else, because you won't get to the place where you're intended to go if you're waiting for somebody
For
else to
that.
tell you when it's okay to move.
And Charles,
Okay.
that's not contradictory to what we just said. That's supportive.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is, you do what you want, son. I still love you.
Right. Right.
Because the subtext is, I love you. Versus some dads will say that, if you don't do what I want, I'm pulling back. I'm pulling
That's
back
right.
the emotional funds. I'm pulling
Yeah.
back even the money. Like the kid
Right.
that dropped out of medical school, he goes, his dad says, what are you going to do? And I said, tell your dad you're going to figure it out.
Right. Yeah. Because he has to. I mean, it's
Right.
just
He's got to do it.
that's his responsibility to
His
figure that
ability.
out. Yeah.
And he'll do it. And you know something? It's the first time he's made his own decision. And that kid's going to do much better now.
Yeah, I hear you, guys. You have been listening
Thank you.
to Dr. Poulter, Dr. Stephen Poulter, the author of The Shame Factor. Heal your deepest fears and set yourself free. He's also the author of The Father Factor. Okay, how your father's legacy impacts your career. And we're going to be getting hot and heavy on fathers and sons, the good and bad and the ugly of it all. But we are running short on time. We just want to remind you guys that you are able to pick up these two books on Amazon, and they're great reads. The Shame Factor, you guys have heard me talk about quite a bit. If you're not following us on social media, I know that social media today is just overrun with a lot of stuff, but please have patience with us. At least you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook at the Barbershop Group. And just so you know, if you're a guy, we also have a private WhatsApp group, a supportive group, where guys can come in, check in, they can share aspects of their lives, they can get support, they can read some of the articles that are also posted on other social media platforms, and just really get to know someone else who may have something similar going on. Now, here's the caveat to that WhatsApp group, and I think it's important, Doctor, that we share this, we say this, and that's that these type of support groups only work, guys, if you show up. Okay.
I don't know. Participation's a big deal. I don't know.
That's
yeah.
Okay. Hey,
there we go.
Participation is a big deal. You can't come into the group and expect to have all of life's problems solved by seeing what's happening. Like, let me take a look in the group. Oh, nothing's going on. I'm going to exit the group. No, I like to take a phrase from sobriety meetings, and that it works if you work it. Okay, so
Right
the support group will work if you work it. Okay, but again, that's WhatsApp. And if you want to know how to join that group, you can DM us. You can send us a direct message on Twitter, on Instagram, or Facebook. Again, if you're following us on those mediums, you can send us a direct message. You can give us your phone number, and we can have you added to the group. Okay, so guys, we know that the weekend is upon us. A lot of places are still experiencing cold weather. The pandemic is going to be around. So take care of yourselves as much as possible. I know that a lot of places this weekend, it's Valentine's Day weekend. So restaurants are open and things like that. You may want to do something special for someone. Just be safe. Okay. Take the measures to be safe for yourself. Be smart about it. Okay. So until next time, guys, be well. I always say it, be well, but love you more. Love your people more. and we'll talk to you soon.